Hey, podcast listeners, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Nick.
And we host the Facing Off podcast, and we are inviting you to give our podcast a listen.
On Facing Off, Gabe and I take two movies we find to be similar, and we compare, contrast, and rate them in our own unique way. We pair movies across all genres. As long as there's a common thread between the two movies, we'll face them off. We also give these movies awards at the end of the episode. Sometimes we even rank our favorite movies based on some specific criteria.
So, after finishing this podcast, please go and listen to Facing Off, which can be found on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts simply by searching for Facing Off. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter by looking up Facing Off Pod.
Podcast is all very scientific. We don't have time to get into it right now.
I guess you'll just have to listen to find out.
I guess so.
Hi, thank you for having us on the show. Love the show. I'm My Guy Monkey from My Guy Reviews.
I'm My Guy Break. We have our own podcast. We talk about pop culture related topics. Each week we bring a new topic to the table.
A bit like your own, so if you're looking for more content like this when you're done, head over to My Guy Reviews.
We talk about movies, video games, fighting fantasy books, TV shows, and as much as My Guy Monkey hates it, we talk music as well. Type in the word My Guy Reviews
at Spotify, YouTube, and your podcast service of choice.
Today we're looking at Elf, a 2003 American Christmas comedy directed by Jon Favreau, starring Will Ferrell. The film centres on Buddy, a human who was adopted and raised by Santa's elves. He learns about this and heads to New York City to meet his biological father, while also spreading Christmas cheer to a world full of cynics.
Hello, and welcome to the Christmas and Chill podcast.
Maddie, what are you doing?
I don't know. Please help me.
Yesterday you steal my COVID joke, and now you're going to start the podcast.
Well, I just figured someone's going to do it.
Hello, welcome to the Christmas and Chill podcast.
Wow, is mine not good enough for you?
Episode number 9. I'm here with Amy and nobody else. How are we?
I am a Christmas spirit. I am a void. No, I'm not here.
How are we this evening, ladies?
Pretty good.
Very well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you, ma'am.
I feel like I'm on a sugar high after watching Elf. Is anyone else getting that? I feel like I'm on an absolute sugar high. Just gave me red cordial.
Just like you've gotten a sugar high just from watching all the sugar he's eaten.
That pouring of the syrup on the pasta is so good. Did he do the chocolate spaghetti? I missed it.
Yeah. He did. But when he was doing that, like, all I was thinking was, how is Will Ferrell not laughing?
Yeah.
Like, when he was eating, I was like, surely he hates this.
I was actually just thinking, how is he eating that? I'd probably vomit.
Surely he would love it. Knowing Will Ferrell, he probably would have loved it.
Yes, so if you haven't gathered from what we've talked about already, today we watched Elf. Probably one of the more well-known Christmas movies to come out of the last 20 years. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling into it. What do we think of the movies?
17 years old.
Yeah, I was about to say the last decade, and then I realised no, it's been longer than that.
No. It's such a funny movie. It's so quotable. I'm a cotton-headed nitty muggins.
Yeah. So to continue where we left off with the sugar conversation, how many takes do you reckon they did of him? Because I was like, the one I was watching it, I was like, how many times do you reckon he's had to eat spaghetti with syrup on it? Like, do you reckon they just kept the camera rolling, or they'd be like, all right, now do it again. Now do it again.
Surely.
Like, I wonder if it's any good.
Okay, we're going to have to try this, everyone. We're going to film it. It's going to be a whole...
no.
Oh, my God,
Christmas
we should.
We're
on our
do
Christmas
it.
Day.
Christmas
Day.
Day.
That can be our breakfast.
Spaghetti with syrup.
We should get a whole bunch of movie, like, dishes that they eat in Christmas movies and like eat them and do like a review on them, a special
oh my
podcast.
Gosh.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, I'm a genius.
What do we think of the film? Do we like Elf? I mean, I'm going to assume I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't like Elf, but I'm going to ask you both. Did you like the film?
Yes, I did like the film.
It's a very, very funny film.
Yes.
It actually felt a lot quicker than I remember it.
I feel like, yeah, I agree actually. I feel like it does drag in parts. I'm not quite sure which parts though.
Yeah,
Maybe
I feel
the
like
start?
I feel the same thing, Maddie. Maybe.
Like the mailroom scene, like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I feel like I've seen the start a lot more than the end. Does that make sense? It's like they always play it on like channel 7 or 9 or whatever. So you always end up seeing the start of the movie way more than you see the ending because you're not staying up till 12 o'clock and sitting through
Yes.
ads.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very true.
What did you think of the film, Josh?
Yeah, no, I did like it. I enjoyed it. It is one of those ones that we kind of keep coming back to. We've talked about like classic Christmas movies, and Ben asked us a question in the mailbag a couple of weeks ago about if there will be any kind of great classic Christmas films, and I think Elf might be one of the last ones that's kind of appeared. I can't think of too many other kind of Christmas films that I would call a classic anymore.
Ooh, let me pull up the list. I agree. It's definitely a Christmas classic.
Yeah. I also liked so we saw at the start it was directed by Jon Favreau, who everything he touches just kind of turns to gold.
What just happened in your room,
What was that?
I just saw your blind. Oh my god, I thought there were ghosts.
That was so funny.
I just saw your blind close. I thought it was ghosts.
Oh, this is staying in the podcast.
Jon Favreau, you mean Pete from Friends?
Yeah, Pete from Friends, Jon Favreau of The Mandalorian fame. I feel like it just kind of reimburses the fact that anything he touches turns to gold.
Yeah. I didn't realise it was him actually, and then I saw it. I was like, Jon Favreau. And you're like, yeah, how could you not know? I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do we think that... So obviously it's a very Christmassy film, this one. And if we're looking at the spectrum of Christmassy films, it's going to be hard to beat this when it comes to how Christmassy the film is. I want to talk about Will Ferrell and as Buddy, I guess, for a moment. Him being an elf, I guess, and being really childlike, does that drive... I'm trying to think of the best way to word this question because it's a bit of an odd one. So, do you think that he came across more as an elf or more as a child? Like, do you think that like what drove the film? Like, was he more of an elf or more of a child?
I think he's more an elf, but I think elves are portrayed a lot to be childlike. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to think of a movie where the elves are children, and all I can think of is Elf.
Yeah.
But I think he's childlike because he never grew up as a human.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Yeah, you go, Amy.
I don't know what I was going to
You've
say.
stumped me with this question. We could have had an answer.
Like I kind of feel like, and this is just pulling at straws, but I think that he's a child because he didn't have, like, I guess he's found out that he has a real dad.
Oh, the Santa Claus. That's where all the elves are children in those movies.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. So elves are quite childlike in quite a few movies. So that's why I think maybe he's kind of both.
But, I mean, Josh also has, like, a good point. It's like he hasn't had, like, a human, like... life or whatever, or growing up as a human.
I do believe I also said that, but anyway.
Oh, sorry.
Salt,
yeah, I'm roasting you tonight, Amy. Let's go.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah, he may not be able to... He doesn't know how to act like an adult or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like a lot of Will Ferrell movies, he follows that exact same trend. Like Step Brothers, for example, is pretty much the exact same thing, just minus Christmas.
I think that's every Will Ferrell character.
I'm pretty sure that's just him. Like, I'd love to meet him in real life because...
I would never know if he was doing a character or not.
Maybe Will Ferrell is the character. Mind blown.
I just think he's so funny. Like every movie that he's in, he doesn't have to say a funny line, and I still think it's funny. Like
His face, his facial expressions when he's just smiling the whole time.
So
I just
good.
like to smile.
Peter Dinklage was in this movie,
Yes.
which I completely forgot about.
I forget he's American. I was fully expecting some Tyrion Lannister monologue, and it didn't happen.
It really didn't. But no, that was.
Oh, not the only Game of Thrones star to appear in a Christmas movie.
Who else?
Daenerys Targaryen is in Last Christmas.
And also
yes.
Amelia Clarke is
Yeah,
turning
that's what I'm
up-
talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I don't watch Game of Thrones.
No, you're fine. I couldn't remember her name, so
Oh,
thank you.
well, then I have to.
We complete each other. You knew what I was thinking.
I'm trying to think if there's any others, but I doubt there would be.
Oh, Ed was in Nativity.
Oh, Ed! Ed was in Nativity. He was one of the parents. That's right, Ed. Oh,
Good times.
so good. Shame about that last season, though.
We don't talk about it.
I did want to bring up a previous movie that we have watched because there was a very direct parallel between one scene in this movie and a film that we watched a couple of nights ago, It's a Wonderful Life. Mm-hmm. When he was after his dad yells at him and tells him that, I want him to go, he ends up on the bridge in the middle of the snow, looking over the edge.
Where's Clarence the Angel? I was fully expecting him to come down. Because that makes sense with the movie line, remember?
Yeah. It was, you could not get more of a blatant reference to It's a Wonderful Life.
And it was snowing and everything.
I know.
Yeah, it was really good. It's a shame that Luke isn't on this podcast. But if he does record something, I'm sure he'll have some thoughts about it, and I'll put that right here.
I wonder if he'll notice.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Well, let's listen and find out.
Hello, Christmas friends. It's Luke, and this evening we watched Elf, starring Will Ferrell, and I have never seen this movie. It was a movie that I just sort of never touched. I just never found it very appealing. And watching it for the first time, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a good movie. I don't think it's something that I would be watching all the time, but it would be a movie that I'd put on during Christmas and all that sort of stuff. Will Ferrell has been sort of a hit and miss with me in a lot of the roles he's done, but this movie was really, really good, especially for his acting. He plays the mind of a child really well, but also has that sincerity that doesn't seem creepy or weird. Watching the movie was really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite funny. There were lots of bits that were really entertaining to watch. I think the different animation styles when in the North Pole I thought was an interesting touch. I liked the fact that Santa wasn't always jolly ho 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 like he is in any advertisement or any depiction ever in any film. But regardless, I did like the fact that he was a bit more down to earth. Yeah, overall, this movie was quite an enjoyable watch. If I was going to give my ranking, I would give this movie 8.5 stars, 8.5 Santa hats out of 10. Well, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.
Wow, thanks so much, Luke. Really glad you did or did not notice that as well. So, this film, we're back on the Santa Claus trend after jumping off kind of belief in Santa Claus. I think, the closest that we've come to the belief in Santa Claus, I think, was the Polar Express, right?
Yeah.
Is there many other? I don't think many others have been about believing in Santa Claus.
At least not yet.
No, you're right.
far.
Yeah.
How do you think that, like, comparing the whole believing in Santa Claus aspect, which film do you think does it better? Elf
Well, we
or
all
Polar
know
Express?
what
Which
you
one
guys are
did you
gonna say.
enjoy? I'm asking just you, Amy.
No, I'd probably say Elf, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
look,
didn't like Santa in the Polar Express. I thought he was a bit of a dick.
I'll be honest. I didn't like Santa in Elf.
Really? He was
No.
nice.
I don't know. I've never liked him. I don't know what it is.
I never
When I was a
liked
kid,
Santa.
well, I don't think I just he seems so cranky.
He doesn't.
He was going to hit him.
He's
Yeah.
like 1,000 years old.
Yeah,
I
but he
think
wasn't
I'd be a bit fed up if I was 1,000 years old.
He wasn't jolly enough.
Well, I mean, I guess he was. He's allowed to be angry because, like, he needed Christmas cheer to get his sleigh working, but he didn't have enough.
Yeah,
so
his sleigh was
What's wrong
broken.
with why? What's wrong with people?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with people?
If you were in a world where that chain of events happened and you saw Santa Claus like fly out of New York, what would you do?
I'd be so excited.
I would legitimately think I was having some kind of mental breakdown.
Yeah, I'd probably think I was psychotic.
But isn't that bad though? Because, like, even though we're watching all these films, I'm still so cynical.
I have a question for you, Josh.
Yes.
Like, as a kid, how strongly did you believe in Santa?
I don't know. I don't.
Or was that too long ago?
Yeah, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. No, it was. I'm gonna break the story. Hopefully, parents, if there are any children around, switch the podcast off for a moment. When I was a kid, I remember I had Santa Claus was ruined for me at my dad's place because I think we were staying there one Christmas Eve, and me and my stepbrother and my sister were like sleeping downstairs because the Christmas tree was upstairs, so that's where they got all the presents and stuff from. And Dad, we could just clearly hear him walking to and from the bedroom, just getting presents and putting them under the tree.
The thing is, like,
we're like, right.
The same thing happened to me, though. Like, I heard my parents putting the presents out in the lounge room, so I decided, I'm going to check, open the door, and I saw them actually physically putting the presents where they were supposed to go.
Caught red-handed, Alex and Tracy.
What about you, Maddie? I know you have a funny story with your sister.
I do. So my sister hated the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, and the Tooth Fairy. So my dad had to bargain with them because she just hated them coming into the house. So my dad would be like, it's all right, I've texted him, I've called him, like, it's all right, they've given us the presents, we're going to sort it out, rah, rah, rah. And so I think I started discovering one by one that they weren't real, but I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, I'm still going to believe it's okay. And then one day my sister went to my dad and goes, Dad, is Santa real? And he goes, no. And while we're at it, neither is the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny. And I was like, oh, well, that confirms it then, I guess. My dad's quite like Josh and is very cynical about Christmas.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, hey, I'm trying this year.
He's
definitely
doing okay.
trying.
He almost cried during Elf, Amy.
Oh,
Saw it.
I think it's one of those movies. I feel like by the time Love Actually comes around on Christmas Eve, I'm going to be a blubbering mess.
Eve.
But yeah, I think that this movie has heart. I don't know if it's as good as Nativity was at making me feel things, or yeah. What do you guys think? Like, was it like the emotional
I feel like
content?
Jovi falls for Buddy really quickly.
Yes,
There wasn't as much plot line or like growth in that relationship as I wanted. You know what I mean? Like they went on one date and she was like, okay.
I mean, I haven't watched Elf in a while, so I thought there was a whole different plot between those two. Like, you know how like
same.
the dad gets angry at him. I thought she also got angry at him too.
Same.
I don't know why I thought that, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, it definitely did not. There was
Same.
no
I thought there
struggle.
was a storyline about like
He did,
him telling her that she was a real elf, and she was like, "Oh, you're a weirdo."
yeah, or something like that. But I just remember, I feel like I remember her getting angry at him or something, and then they stopped talking for a bit.
Yeah, maybe we're going crazy.
No, that actually does sound familiar.
Or do we just think of every other Christmas movie?
It's very true.
Hey, I have a question. So I saw an ad for a new Christmas movie, an Australian one. It's called A Sunburnt Christmas or something like that. Got me thinking, there's barely any Australian Christmas movies.
Luke and I were talking about that the other day because we were talking about how Nativity is like British and how there's not many British movies on the list. And then Luke was like, oh, is there even any Australian Christmas movies?
No.
Yeah, I can't think of any from the top of my head.
Right, I'm Wikipediaing this. Give me a second.
I mean, I think one reason probably why there isn't is because we can't have all the stereotypical Christmas things like snow and all that. But I still think it would be a really cool movie. Like, you know that Christmas song, Christmas in Australia? That's a very good song. I love that song.
Yeah,
but
it is a good song.
They should do like a movie like that. Like, it just shows everyone what a Christmas in Australia is like.
The closest
the only thing that comes to mind is the Moodies. Are you going to say that, Josh?
That's exactly what I was about to say. The only thing that comes to mind is the TV series, The Moodies, A Very Moody Christmas was the original one, and then they did the Moodies afterwards.
I'm so sorry. We're forgetting about Wiggly Wiggly Christmas.
Oh, of course.
How could I forget?
Love Actually is off the list.
I'm pretty sure
That'll
Luke
have to
said
be
the
in for
exact
season
same
2.
thing.
Oh,
we should put the Wiggles on the...
I have no issue with this.
Give me a second. I'm having a look. Apparently there's an Australian version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, right.
There's one called Red Christmas, but it's a horror film.
Is it Red
might have to
Dog?
watch that. There's one called Bush Christmas, made in 1947. I'm out.
It's always like bush and red and dirt and
Well, that's Australia,
sun.
mate. Ain't about Melbourne and bloody
Could be
smashed
lattes
Davo.
and
They could go the Maya windows.
yeah, my windows.
Guys, why aren't we making a Melbourne Christmas movie?
We can try.
We've got no budget.
Neither does the podcast. So, getting back to it, Zooey Deschanel, or what's it, Jovi.
Yes.
Zooey, is that how you pronounce her name? Because it's written as Zooey.
But it's Zoe.
Is it?
It's weird that her sister is Bones.
Is it Emily Deschanel? Is that Bones?
Yeah. And they kind of look like Katy Perry.
Oh, my God. There's
Do you not
there's
like
a whole
Katy?
group of girls who look like Katy Perry.
But why
Yeah,
is her
Zoe's
name
one of them.
Zooey?
No,
Zooey.
it's Zoe.
Zooey. It's Zooey.
I'm looking up the correct spelling.
It's Z-O-O-E-Y.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Zooey?
the correct pronunciation.
Zooey. I'll do it for you right now, mate. It's Zooey. While you're looking that up, I did have another question I wanted to ask. Everyone's favourite scene when Buddy first arrives into New York and he's exploring New York, and then, of course, there's the gum on the railing and testing it. You know, everyone's favourite bit. Do you think after that he was more susceptible to COVID?
I was just thinking that as I was watching it. I was like, Josh is going to reference this part of the movie and ask if he's more susceptible to COVID.
Well, considering America's stats right now, I would not be surprised. Pretty bad.
I mean, how's their Christmas spirit going? If they're not going to believe in COVID, they're not going to believe in Santa.
Controversial.
I actually feel...
I hope we have smart listeners on this podcast.
But I actually feel so sorry for people in Europe and, like, America. They're not going to be able to celebrate Christmas like they usually do. It's very sad.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Lord bless Dan Andrews for everything he's done.
I think we're lucky that we live in a warm part of the world in Christmas as well. Because I think
true.
even if, from everything that I've heard, is that the fact that we're going into summer is only going to help us. kind of with making sure COVID
Definitely
doesn't come back.
It is Zoe. It's Zoe, not Zoo-E. Zoe.
Za-E?
Zoe.
No, it's not. It's Zooey.
Well, I'm just not sure why she has that extra O in the middle there.
I've never been
would
to the
be
Melbourne
asking
Zoo. Have you? Because I haven't.
One time I went to the zoo and there was only a dog. It was a Shih Tzu.
Speaking of shit jokes, who are we in the movie? So if we were, I don't know what that segue was.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. Josh, you are Buddy the Elf when he's in the North Pole because you're 6'8" and everything is small. That's you going to my parents' house. You're ducking under doors and you have to hug all us short people. But then Amy is Buddy the Elf when he's in New York. All that Christmas cheer and spirit.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I mean, I actually think I would react the way he did if I actually found out Santa was real. I'd be like,
Santa! I know him.
Who's it? You smell like ham and cheese.
But then I also think you sit on a throne of lies. I also think Amy would be Peter Dinklage's character. Don't call me Elf because you're quite short. That's not
dear.
rude. I'm just saying. I feel like I would be Zoe Deschanel's character. She seems
Zooey.
pretty Zooey. She seems pretty done with Christmas, working in retail.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that too. Who would Luke be? Luke would be. I'm trying to think.
The kid.
Yeah, he would be the kid.
His brother.
Was it Marco? No.
Marcus? Michael.
Who's Marco?
I don't know. Who the fuck is Marco? Yeah, like who's like bummed out at the start, but then he grows to love Christmas.
Yeah.
What do we think about the dad's transition to loving Christmas? Because I also think that was quite sudden.
He didn't love Christmas. He started to love his son.
Yes.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. It wasn't so much a Christmas thing, it was a family scene.
About Christmas, I felt like they just became confident and more loving by knowing Buddy. So like Jovi, she wouldn't sing and then she sang in the end because she got that confidence from him. Like the dad began to love Buddy and accept him just because of Buddy.
So is it
Michael
more so
became
that,
happy.
Yeah, is it more so that Buddy
It's
brought
the
out
Christmas cheer and Christmas spirit that
Buddy brought out the best in people, and Buddy was Christmas.
yeah.
Like that's
But it wasn't Christmas that did it.
No.
Yeah.
But it was
If that
Buddy's
makes
Christmas
any sense.
spirit that caught on. It was contagious to everyone else.
Yes. It's
A
like
lot
being
like
around
COVID.
Amy.
I hope
so.
I hope so.
So,
Question. What's your favourite quote from the movie?
I'm not going to be able to name one.
Maddie, you just reel off a couple because I've got to try and think of one.
I've already said heaps.
Well,
Buddy
I'm
Elf,
gonna
what's your favourite colour?
I'm going to opt out.
Why?
Unsubscribe.
You can't unsubscribe to
Close
this
tab.
mailing list, please.
Shut down.
Because I can't think of one.
Well, now I can't think of one.
You asked the question.
I know. I think that whole scene when he's talking to Peter Dinklage is just real funny. Call
What's a
me
zingers?
elf one more time. Ooh, you're an angry elf.
Oh, it is very good. Do we like the movie? Do we think, let's quickly compare it to some of the other films.
Asked this question about 7 times throughout a podcast.
Yeah, but it's the way I ask it is like it's got different meanings. Like I always ask that same question, but then the follow up is a little bit different. Hey, I'm stalling.
Write down your questions. Yeah,
I have.
Answer them better.
No, because I haven't finished my question. My question was, do you think that comparing this film to the other films that we've watched so far, do you like it? Like, is it up in, say, like the top 5? Or Like now that we kind of have a rough idea of what our top fives are, does it sit in that top five, or do you think it just misses out? Have we watched better films?
I think it's in my top 5.
Yeah, I think
Pretty funny.
I
I think
think
it just makes it though.
Is it as high as you thought it was going to be going into the film? Like, do you remember it?
No, I think I was
better?
expecting it to be higher on my list initially. And then watching it, it's still a funny movie, but then I'm comparing it to the other ones I've watched and I go, oh, but Nativity was still really, really good. And I know there's going to be others that come after it there that are going to be just as good. So it's hard to make a decision.
What about you, Amy? Did you have higher expectations of it before watching it compared to when you watched it?
Nah, I apart from thinking that there was extra bits to it that didn't happen.
Same.
I feel like I expected it to be like that. I remember it being like that, so I was like, yeah.
Yep. Great.
What about you?
Yeah, I think. So my mum and my sister really love this movie, and so it's very much a Christmas tradition in our house. Like it's always played every Christmas. So, but I always seem to forget it. I never really remember it that well. So in my head, I think based on like tradition and nostalgia, it was built up as like, this is, the Christmas movie. This is going to be great. But then watching it, it was good. And it's a great movie. But I don't know if it's as good as some of the other movies we've watched already.
Interesting. On that note, oh no, you go, Amy.
No, I was just going to say, like, I feel like with a lot of the movies so far, like even Nativity, I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just because I really enjoy Christmas or something, but I feel like I work myself up a lot more. And so then when I watch it, it doesn't like... It's not as Christmassy as I feel like it was when I was thinking about it.
Is it because you watch these when you're like a lot younger as well? So then going into it like an adult, you're a bit more, I mean, not cynical, but more adult.
Yes.
Funny how that is.
Especially I guess in that aspect too, I mean, for me, Nativity was something I hadn't seen before, so I had no expectations.
Definitely.
Whereas this is a movie I've seen plenty of times before, and so the expectation was there, and I guess that kind of hurts the film in a way.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, well, I guess it's time for how many Christmas hats out of 10? I'm still waiting for you to put a theme song in there for me, Josh.
Yeah, I'll get onto that.
Okay, cool. If you could, that'd be great. Hey, Amy, how many Christmas hats out of 10?
I reckon maybe an 8 out of 10, I reckon. Like it's really good, but then obviously it's not probably like a nativity. So, but it's almost there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. What about you, Josh?
I'm the exact same. I'd give this movie an 8. It's a great movie. I have no issues with watching it. I'd happily watch it again. But, I've felt more Christmassy watching other movies. So it's close, but no cigar.
I am the exact same as you guys.
Wow.
I was thinking about it watching the movie. I was like, yeah, solid 8. It's a solid 8, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very stable, heartwarming movie that I've watched a lot of times. So, yeah, didn't exceed my expectations, but definitely watched better so far.
Do you reckon... Sorry, just a question popped into my head. Of the movies that we've watched so far, which movie do you think... I'm going to say that again. Of the movies that we've watched so far, which movie do you think could afford to have a sequel? Do you think they could do an Elf 2?
I reckon they could, to be honest.
They could...
Like, I'm trying to think of the ones that we've watched.
I think they could, because obviously him and Jovi had a daughter at the end. They could, incorporate the child into it.
And, kind of see what happens with her life, because obviously now she's going to be going between probably the North Pole and not real life, but, humans.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm sorry, yeah, it just popped into my head. Maybe It's a Wonderful Life too. That goes for 4 hours this time.
It's funny.
Polar Express 1 was already too many.
I was going to say, what would a sequel of that be like? Bit weird.
I don't know. Less Tom Hanks, hopefully.
Or maybe the kid becomes the conductor of the train.
Well, I thought he was.
Wait, was he?
Well, he was the narrator. He was like, I was in my bed one day, and then
I'm not getting started on this again. I'm not getting started on this.
I think Amy has a fun fact for us.
Oh, yes. My fun fact.
Maddie, quick, sing the theme song for the fun fact of the day.
Amy's fun fact of the day. No, I went too high. Amy's... wait. Oh, you put me off now. Amy's fun fact of the... No, too high. You're this musician here, Josh. You do it.
You're doing fine on your own, mate.
Amy's fun fact of the day. Not too high. I can't.
Right,
Just
the gag is dead.
Do it, Amy.
Okay, most of Santa's reindeer have male-sounding names, such as Blitzen, Comet, and Cupid. However,
Zooey.
male reindeers shed their antlers around Christmas, so the reindeers pulling Santa's sleigh are likely not male but female, or they're castrated.
What kind of fun fact is that?
Jeez.
That's brilliant. Oh yeah, because they shed their antlers and they're like, it's like velvet. Apparently,
Yeah.
the feel it's like velvet.
But then
Have you seen that before? Have you seen an image of a reindeer shedding its like antlers? It's fucking metal as fuck.
Why are all snowmen female?
Because something snowballs.
Yeah, because they got snowballs.
Snow boobs. All right.
I really slayed that joke.
no, you didn't.
Oh, I'm going to Polar Express myself out of I'm going to jump off a bridge. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Yeah, right. Reindeer, no antlers. Are they
I
all?
love that. That's
Wait,
woman
are they-
power.
Yeah, that's why
Are
I
they all-
decided to do it, because I was like, Maddie's going to love it.
Sisters are
Are
doing it
they
for
all male
themselves.
names? Do they have all male names? I feel like some are
Donna.
Vixen, Donna.
But then
I feel like they're gender neutral.
Steve.
I think it depends on where you are in the world also.
Jerome
on
the
Stephen,
reindeer.
on Michael, on Randy and Bishmo. I don't know. Oh, fantastic.
What a quick podcast, everyone.
No, it's fantastic. Look, we've got some plugs. So you can head to our Instagram account. Please tune in. Lots more content going on there daily.
Like us eating pasta with syrup.
Yeah. Yes, apparently we may need to start recording some Christmas tropes, I think. We'll start looking into that. And if you want to get involved in that, check us out on Instagram at Christmas and Chill Podcast. We often do a mailbag section as well, but unfortunately today our mailbag is empty. If you want to send us a question, send us an email, mailbag.christmasandchill@gmail.com. You can grab us on Spotify, YouTube, also Apple Podcasts. And if you do listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please do go ahead and give us a rating of some kind. Ratings really help us get out there and spread the Christmas love to brand new audiences. So please, we'd really appreciate it.
You need to believe in us and Santa.
Yes, which is the common theme.
Yes.
It is a common theme. What are we watching tomorrow night?
I'm pretty sure we are watching
No, we're not
No.
watching that. We're not
Because
watching that.
Luke can't.
Because Luke
Daddy's
can't do
Home.
it.
Yes, we're
We're
watching that.
2 Will Ferrell movies in a row.
Are we watching Daddy's Home tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, Will Ferrell is also in 2 movies.
That's what I just said. I said it's a Will Ferrell double feature. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, but like in the same sense that Martin Freeman and Tim Allen is and Emma Thompson.
Josh, I said this yesterday.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh my
Do you reckon
god.
Zooey Deschanel is in more than one?
I'm gonna go now.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.